New Year's Eve is a real portal, a moment that lets you close one chapter of your life and write a completely new version of yourself. In this liminal space, you're no longer in the past, but not yet in the future. And that's exactly where your power is strongest, right at the border where identity can be redefined.
You know that feeling, right? The powerful, almost magical sense of a fresh start? That clean slate feeling you get on January 1st, or hey, even just a Monday morning. It really feels like you can just begin again. But what's actually going on in our heads to create that feeling? Well, that's exactly what we're going to get into. I mean, what is it about that one single tick of the clock from December 31st to January 1st? How can one little moment make millions of us all at once decide, okay, this is it. This is when I change my life. It's this fascinating, deeply human ritual that pretty much all of us take part in.
And the changes we promise ourselves, well, they're pretty much always the same, aren't they? We want to improve our health, our finances, our relationships. And when you boil it all down, these are all about self-improvement, which is really just a modern way of talking about our most basic, primal instinct, the drive to survive, to live healthier, better, longer lives. Okay, but here's the kicker. Research shows a staggering 88% of all New Year's resolutions fail. Yeah, that is a huge number. So if we're so incredibly bad at keeping them, why do we keep making them year after year? It kind of suggests we're missing something important. And maybe it's not about willpower at all, but about timing.
It turns out psychologists actually have a name for this whole phenomenon. It's called the fresh start effect. And it describes those specific moments when we feel this natural boost in our motivation to go after our goals. That whole reset button idea? Yeah, it's very, very real.
The whole thing is driven by what scientists call a temporal landmark. See, our brains don't just see time as one long, endless river. We're constantly creating these mental breaking points, a before and an after. It's like we draw a line in the sand. And these landmarks basically give us permission to disconnect from our past self, leave old mistakes behind, and just start over.
And listen, this isn't just a once-a-year thing. Think about it, the start of a new school semester, the first of the month, even just a plain old Monday morning. Our calendars are absolutely peppered with these temporal landmarks, and every single one offers a little motivational boost, another chance for a fresh start.
And get this, it's not just a feeling, you can actually see it in the data. Just look at Google searches for the word diet. They go through the roof on January 1st, but they also get a smaller but totally consistent spike every single Monday. These landmarks trigger real, actual, measurable changes in how we behave.
So, the fresh start effect is a great, modern, scientific explanation. But doesn't it feel like it's tapping into something much deeper? Something ancient, almost hardwired into us? What if this little psychological quirk is actually just the echo of a social ritual that's thousands of years old?
To really get that, we need to switch gears from psychology to anthropology and dig into this incredibly powerful concept called liminality.
Liminality. It comes from the Latin word for threshold. It's that weird, disorienting, ambiguous in-between state. You know, when you've left where you were, but you haven't quite gotten to where you're going yet. You're literally standing on the threshold. You're not one thing and you're not the other. You're betwixt and between. So way back in 1909, a folklorist named Arnold van Gennep noticed something amazing. Rates of passage all over the world, from ancient tribal initiations to modern-day graduations, they all follow the same three-part structure. First, there's separation. You leave your old self behind. Then you enter liminality, that uncertain in-between phase. And finally, there's incorporation. You're brought back into society with your new identity.
And this is exactly what happens on New Year's. Think about it. December 31st is the separation from the old year. The stroke of midnight, that's the powerful liminal threshold. And January 1st, that's our incorporation into the new year. That fresh start feeling is our entire culture experiencing a collective liminal moment, all at the same time. Now, once you have that word liminality, you're going to start seeing these thresholds everywhere. Seriously, it's one of those things you can't unsee. They aren't just in ancient rituals or on the calendar. They are woven into the very fabric of our modern lives.
For starters, there are liminal people, folks who are existing in a state of transition. A teenager, right, caught between being a child and an adult. Or a college student, they've left home but they're not in their career yet. Someone engaged to be married, not single anymore, but not quite a spouse either. These are entire chunks of our lives spent living on a threshold.
And then there are the liminal spaces. Actual physical places that are purely transitional. They aren't destinations themselves, they're just the in-between. Places like airports, hallways, waiting rooms. Their entire identity is defined by where you've come from and where you're going. They aren't really here or there. A perfect and kind of creepy modern example of this is the internet urban legend known as the backrooms. This description just perfectly captures that unsettling, eerie feeling of a purely transitional, purely liminal space that feels completely detached from normal reality. So, what's the big takeaway here? That urge you feel on January 1st to change your life, it's not just some random psychological quirk. It's you, tapping into this ancient human pattern. You are literally creating your own personal rite of passage, a liminal moment, so you can step across a threshold and separate your old self from the new self you're hoping to become.
And that brings us to one last thought. We are all in transition, in some way or another, between jobs, between relationships, or maybe just between the person we were yesterday and the person we're trying to be tomorrow. So just take a second. What in-between space, what threshold are you standing on right now?
All right, folks. Thanks so much for sticking around till the end. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to drop a like. It really helps me out. Make sure to subscribe so you won't miss the next one. And leave me a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts and chat with you. See you in the next video. Take care.